Let me show y'all just for a second what I put into a really good healthy mix for Carl, our ostrich. So I always start, it really is just a combo of all kinds of stuff. I put an oat and worm blend. All right. We throw in some of this flock. This is kind of a flock pellet, an all flock pellet. It's kind of hard to talk with it. It's a little bit hard to talk with everyone staring at me. I don't do good with an audience. This is gonna probably freak you out, but one of his favorite things is a little bit of this Alpaca Supreme. And this is a really high energy, kind of an alfalfa mix in a pellet form. You guys are not going to believe this. You are not going to believe this. Look what's going on over here. Look what is happening. Carl will not let the babies come over because he's not allowed to come over. Any of the babies who are trying to make their way over here to have their breakfast, they're not able to because Carl has not given permission. What powerful mind control. Good morning, folks. Lester here. It's Sunday morning, and I know it's a little bit early. It's still probably hard for you guys to see what's going on here with Carl. But I've came out this morning and I closed the gate that I told you about, the one that allows the littles to go under, the pigs, the goats, the geese, ducks. But whereas Carl is not allowed to go, and the reason I've done that is because I did not want Carl walking down towards the church while those church kids are out there trying to play with their soccer balls and volleyballs. Carl's not happy about what's going on. I hate to see him pacing the fence like he's doing now. But I really don't know a better way to handle this. So what's happened is I've called the babies over this morning and I went ahead and dropped out their feed. You know, I always put feed along the fence line here to kind of get them up and moving. There's nothing new about that. A lot of the ducks are down in the pond doing what they normally do. But Carl has come right here to this fence line and he's just pacing back and forth, back and forth. I don't think that he likes these goats and pigs being this far separated. Now I know they're just right here, but to him, this is a different pasture. It's a pasture he's not had a chance to scout out, you know, and check out for any kind of danger. Right there, you can see that's the spot that I cut out. Me and Jake yesterday came out and cut that out. And the reason that we did that is because the church kids come over here whenever they have services. You can probably watch here and see how the goats maneuver themselves back and forth. But the way I made the gate, Carl can't. Carl can't get down that low to get through there. Oh, Carl can get low. You've seen Carl drop it low, drop it hot. Drop it like it's hot. But Carl's not gonna bend over and walk under there. But the goats can go back and forth. I was going to hold the camera here while you kind of watched how it all happened. This morning's the first time we've had the goats come through. And I tell you what, Carl is not happy about it. You can see how he's just been pacing that fence line there for the last 30 minutes or so. I say pacing, he's actually kind of jogging the fence line back and forth. But I don't know, I think this is safer than having Carl over here in these pastures whenever there's church kids around. I hadn't seen Annie come through yet. I don't know if Annie's gonna come through or not. Here comes Trudy. So Annie and Ernie, I've not actually seen them come through. Annie, well, there you go. One rung lower. She has to just kind of take a step and she'll be able to come through. Come on, Annie. Don't be silly. Come on, baby. She's not sure if it's worth it or not. I feel bad for Carl, though. It's on days like this that I feel really bad for him. The thing is, guys, you're all, what a lot of you guys are probably saying is, Lester, if it's so stressful for Carl, you should just leave all the babies over in those pastures and don't make him go through the separation anxiety. But the downfall to that is this. These pigs need access to that water. If you don't know pigs, you might not know this, but pigs don't have a natural way to cool themselves off, and the only way a pig can cool itself off is water and mud. And so even though we have a couple of water troughs where pigs can drink water, they can't get their bodies cool. And so the pigs, they have to have access to water, guys. They have to. No ifs, ands, or buts. Annie's still very unsure if she wants to try to come through or not. I thought that it would be easy enough for Annie and Ernie both to walk through. I didn't want to cut one more high because then I don't want Carl to be tempted to lean under and try to go through. That would defeat the entire purpose. But, yeah, Carl is not happy about this. He is not happy about all the babies being over on this side. But they've come by to do their normal morning walkabout and feed. Now, what is a little bit surprising are all the geese have also chosen not to come out. Everyone has left the barn, I'd say about 15 minutes ago. The sun's just now coming up. It's still early. You can barely even make out with the fog. You can barely even see more than 100 feet, but I watch the animals and I know their routines. I thought that would be a really good invention, a really neat way to let the babies come through, but keep Carl where he's safe. And I keep saying keep Carl safe, but you do know that the safety I'm looking out for are those kids, those foolish kids. They get over there by the church, and kids being kids, they want to play, on the little soccer field there. They want to go over there and play volleyball. They shoot basketball. They walk around with their punch and their cookies and, and they want to, it's just natural. They want to walk along the fence line and look at the animals. But Carl can have those, he's very temperamental. And so he can get into a certain mood and you don't want to have, kids right up alongside Carl. He is such an amazing leader of this flock. I call it a flock. You would want to call it a herd. I don't know exactly what you would call it, but I know that in the bird world, it would be a flock. And Carl loves each and every one of these babies. And they respect him. They respect him so very much that you can tell they're all equally disturbed that he can't come in here with them. Well, I mean, heck, the geese are so upset about it that they refuse to go to the pond. The geese can fly over. I tell you, I am constantly trying to think about what's best for everybody. If y'all hear some kind of a strange noise, that's not my stomach. That's Pablo. He loves Daddy. And he's come out to see what's going on with me. Well, looky here. It looks like Carl has won. And everyone's going to walk back to the barn. Carl has called everyone back to the barn. Here they go. Look at this. Is this not the craziest thing you've seen? Carl has given the signal, whatever that signal is. Maybe the evil eye, I don't know. Carl has given everyone the evil eye and they're all walking back towards the barn. Guys, this is not normal. Their normal routine is not to go back to the barn in the morning. Their normal routine is to leave the barn, head out into the pastures for the next several hours. And today they're choosing not to. There's very few babies still out and about. These here are just the ones that I bottle raised, so they still see me more as daddy than they do anyone else. Who did you stick with that horn? These are my little ones here. Give me your ear, sissy. These are my babies here. So, yeah, there goes another one. Lenny, you too? There's the Night's Watch. One of the Night's Watchmen. He's still debating on whether he should go to the barn. Guys, look at this. The babies are so undecided. I'm going to try to raise my camera high. They've got about halfway back, and they realize there's something out of the ordinary. There's something there's something is awry. Something is awry. They don't know what to do. I feel bad that, ouch, stop it, Pablo. Stop, Pablo. We're not going to start doing that. Huh. I'm talking slow because I'm trying to think. So you can see here where I've come out and I've already poured the corn and the grains along the ground. And I don't feed a whole lot in the mornings, but look at all the leftovers. Everyone has chosen to go on, head back in, instead of stay here and eat. Because Carl told them to. So this kind of starts that great debate. A lot of people, when you get upset with Carl, it was funny. I read a comment this morning. Normally whenever I wake up and I'm laying in bed, I'm not quite ready to get up yet. And look at that. Carl sent those two back to the barn. Get back. And he keeps making his rounds. Oh, there goes my little ones. I'd made a comment recently about the page and what looks to be like we have some horrific ghost following where, you know, we're blessed to have 1.7 million people following the page, but we're lucky to get a video with, you know, with 300,000 views to it. And though that those numbers may sound kind of crazy to you, but if you think about it, if you have 1.7 million who follow your page, yet you're only getting 300,000 views, you're like, whoa, where's everybody at? And so I made that general comment recently. I talked about how a year ago, you know, most videos were getting just about as many views as we had followers. And so we've seen a huge decline in our page over the past year. And so this particular lady who wrote said that she thinks it all started with Carl. She says well, this is what she says. She said she noticed the great exodus of folks watching the page when we first brought in Carl. She said because people used to watch this page to hear things like, come on, littles, and see all of the baby's antics. And then she said, but once you brought Carl and the dynamic of the farm changed, and there was not as much Lester interaction, people chose to go watch their farm videos elsewhere. And so, you know, you can't help but when someone says something to take into account what they're saying. And I laid there for a minute and I was thinking about that, and I was trying to kind of like put a timeline together in my head and trying to figure out if there was any truth to what she was saying. And I guess what I finally concluded was, okay, well, it is what it is. Because ultimately, no, this is where it gets kind of mean. Look at Timmy. He's having to decide, does he take the leap of faith and come across the fence, or does he listen to Carl and go back to the barn? Oh, he really wants to hang out in this pond for a while, though. The other pigs they're not so, as you can see, we got 2 pigs here in front of me, 3 counting the one over by the fence. 3 pigs over here, and the 4th is behind me. So the pigs don't listen to Carl the way the goats do. Even though they take advantage of Carl's protection, they don't listen to what he's asking them to do. It's kind of like a hard-headed child. We all have with our children, we all have those certain kids that, they take advantage of us when we cook dinner and when we're going shopping, but any other time they could care less what we say. Now, so here, this is gonna probably not come out right, but I told myself that the people that choose not to follow a page because of their unhappiness with the decision that the farmer made, you don't sit there and dictate and run your farm based on what people tell you or what they think you should do. I mean, think about that for a minute. That is a part of the culture that we live in. That is a part of the world that we live in. They call it the cancel culture, where if people don't like what you say, what you do, what you stand for, who you are, then they simply make a petition to cancel your page. They stop watching it, they stop viewing it, they stop supporting it, and then all of a sudden if it's a program on TV, for example, or a person in politics or celebrity or whatever else, athletes, guess what? They have to make the business decision to move off and move away from that person or that product. But we don't do that here. I feel like if you love the babies, if you love Pig Trudy and her journey, and if you love Lola and her story, if you love Ivy and her rescue, and I could go by and I could name 20 animals here who Annie. If you truly love the babies for who they are and all the struggles they've been through, then you're not going to say, I'm not watching that anymore because I don't like Carl. And if you are that kind of a person who chooses not to watch a channel because you don't like one of the particular animals, then I honestly think that the page is better off without you. So I think that we may not be as big of an army as we used to be, but what we are is like the special forces. We have a special forces type army. You don't need as many if your followers are as loyal as ours are. If they'll stand up and they support you and they love you despite your flaws. And that's what we've always said, because we make a lot of mistakes. We make a lot of mistakes here. And it's nice to know that there's people that still love you and support you despite the fact that they may not always agree with a decision. But even though I don't know exactly if this is the best choice to leave him separated from the babies during church time, I stand behind bringing him to the farm 110%. And I say that because these babies have never been as protected from nighttime predators as they are right now. He walks this fence line with his amazing vision, ferocious tenacity. He has no fear of anything. And every one of these sweet little babies who we all love, who are quite vulnerable. They are, guys. You have been watching long enough to know how vulnerable we are to predators. Guess what? We've not lost a chicken. We've not lost a duck. We've not lost a goose. We've not lost a goat since we've gotten Carl. As a matter of fact, we don't even hardly see those things as much anymore since we've gotten Carl. because animals are not stupid. Seriously, they're not stupid. And the animal would be a fool. Even a hungry animal would be a fool to say, there's ducks in that pasture. There's geese in that pasture. There's baby goats in that pasture. When they know that this over here is that pasture's protector. So yeah, the numbers may drop. The views may be less. But it's kind of what they say about friends. I'd rather have one good friend, one true friend, one loyal friend, than 10 friends who are wishy-washy, who you never know who have your back. Wow, I hope I didn't just hurt somebody's feelings by saying that. But I'll say this, here we are 19 minutes into a video, and if you're still watching this now, despite the fact that you had 2 or 3 ads play by now, I'm sure, I consider you one of those kind of friends. I'd rather have a few of people like you watching than I would 1.7 million wishy-washy cancel culturist. Is that a word? Cancel culturist? Lots to think about, guys. Lots to think about. I would love to hear your thoughts on Carl and our current situation. In particular, the fact of leaving him up here away from the church. And here you can see church people are finally starting to pull in. And as these church people begin to pull in, the kids will begin to wander out towards the field to play. And I just don't think it's safe, Carl over there right along that fence line with them. If one of those balls was to come flying over, or some high school kid decides he wants a close-up selfie or something else, I just don't think that's wise. And I think that despite Carl, I think if it was our Longhorn Tex, or if it were a pit bull, or if it were, guys, you name the animal. I think that there's certain things you have to do as a responsible pet owner to protect people from your pet and protect your pets from people. That's pretty deep, Lester. That's pretty deep. No. Oh. Thank y'all for being so loyal. And thank y'all for helping us create our own little elite special forces of true supporters and followers. They may say that there's safety in numbers, but I feel safer with you than by. Thank y'all.